Hello, my name is Tom Stiles, and this is Tom's Stiles. No, it's not Tom Stiles. It's Tom's Radio Room Show. Originally, I was going to name it Tom's Radio Shack, but I thought I might get into a little trouble with one particular company. So you understand what that's all about. But anyway, last time, my scanners kicked in. Last time I talked about my scanner radio and what types. I guess I'm going to have to turn that radio off over there. Stand by. I've been waiting for all day for something to show up on that scanner, and now it shows up when I start my show. Oh well. Anyway, last time I talked about batteries and types of batteries for portable devices, and specifically, in my case, my scanner radio. Now, since then, I did a little shopping, shall we say, and looked at some other alternatives to using batteries or using rechargeable batteries and not having to bring the radio back in the house to recharge those batteries. And what I did is I purchased from Amazon.com. And if you go to my webpage, there's a link, and I get a little percentage that helps with defraying the cost of doing these shows. So it's a little plug. Anyway, I went to Amazon, and I found two things. One is a DC car outlet to DC converter. So this little box is adjustable, and it can output 3 volts, 6 volts, 9 volts, and 12 volts. And this particular scanner requires 9 volts. And what you get is you get a little package of these adapters. And hopefully one of these adapters will fit your radio connector right there. And luckily enough, one of them does. And I had one of these that I bought before, but on this end, which plugs into the device, it had this octopus thing with all kinds of connectors, and they were all hardwired. So when you hooked up one, you had 3 or 4 other ones that were kind of dangling, and they weren't protected, so they, the points, contact points were available to be shorted out. Plus, when it plugged in to the device, it had this kind of XY jack with all these different connectors. And so they were hanging on the connector point of my radio. So obviously that wasn't a good solution. But I bought this one, and this is one of the reasons I got on Amazon, because I was looking for one that didn't have that problem. In other words, you pick the adapter you want, and then you plug it into this thing, and depending on which way you plug it, you get a positive or negative polarity on the tip. And it very nicely plugs in to the radio, and is nice and smooth and doesn't stick out like that other thing did. It's nice and tight. It's not loose. It's not going to fall out unless you trip over the cord. So that was one of the reasons I picked this particular one from Amazon. There are 6 tips, and like I said before, luckily one of them fits my radio. And then this plugs into your outlet on your car. Some people used to call them cigarette lighter outlets, but I think they call it accessory outlet now. And it provides you the proper voltage. In this case, this radio wants 9 volts. So I wired it up. I checked the output just to be sure that I had 9 volts on the tip, which is what this radio wanted, and it was all good. Took it downstairs, plugged it into my truck, plugged this into my scanner, and sure enough, it worked. Now, I could use it in two possible modes. My scanner has a battery pack that is for rechargeable batteries. And so that means I can have this battery pack in the radio and plug an adapter to it, and it will charge the batteries internally plus power the unit. Or if I'm a little concerned about charging the batteries and leaving it in the truck in the heat 24/7, I can take the batteries pack out and just power the radio off the adapter. So that's one alternative. I bought this, like I said, I bought this from Amazon. It's called the GE 23600 50 watt to 150 watt universal DC battery eliminator, converts AC to DC. That's the full name. And okay, get the right page here. And here is the blister pack that it came in, which I ripped to shreds. And it has instructions on the back how to use it. Pretty straightforward. So this is what I bought. It cost about $10 with shipping total. Now, that's not a fabulous price. I've seen similar devices, no name, at the flea market for $5. Oh, the $10 includes shipping. But the one thing that caught my eye, and you know, you'll wonder about name brands nowadays because they tend to sell their names. This was originally produced by GE. So that kind of gives me a warm feeling that it's maybe a little better quality. Maybe. But it seems to work. I haven't used it a lot. I'll give you an update if it fails or has problems. But I think that's the way I'm going to go. Instead of having to change batteries out and all the time, and I typically don't take the portable scanner radio out of my truck anyway because I have others that I can take out. So I typically leave it in the truck anyway. So having this hookup is probably not a problem. Now, the one thing about, good or bad, I don't know, but the one thing about my truck, and it's different than newer vehicles, is my truck, the adapter outlet is always hot, which means that it's always potentially drawing current with something plugged in. Now, I think that's why the newer vehicles, the adapters, outlets, accessory outlets, only are powered when the ignition is turned on. That way you don't run the risk of draining the battery. So that's a little bit of a risk. I would think, but I haven't taken it apart, I would think this has some kind of protection in it, or fuse or whatever, but who knows. I guess I could read his fine print on here, and it might tell me. Or it might tell me, don't leave it plugged in. I don't think it does that. Anyway, so that's one option. Now, the other option I looked at is something more universal that I could use for other devices, including devices that are AC powered. And so what I bought at the same time is this little guy here. And this, again, plugs into your vehicle accessory outlet, 12 volts, and what it provides, and it's kind of, it looks funky, but it's actually a regular 110 volt connector, provides 110 volts. So what you would do in the case of this guy is, if you have the wall wart AC to DC adapter that came with this radio, or have one that is the right voltage for this radio, you could, instead of using the DC to DC converter, you could use the DC to AC converter and then plug in your wall wart that plugs into your radio or your device, whatever it might be. So that's a little more universal from the standpoint of any portable device that you have an AC adapter for, you can use this for, and it runs directly off AC. I did a quick test. I took a desk lamp out and put it in my truck, plugged this in, plugged the desk lamp in here. The desk lamp was powered. Pretty simple test, but it's a kind of a go, no-go test. Now, in addition, this particular one, in addition to the AC outlet, it has a USB outlet, so that if you have a USB to your device, be it a phone or an iPod player or something like that, you can plug it into here and it will power your device or charge it, whatever the case may be. So it serves two purposes. Now this particular one is good for 150 watts. So I wouldn't think you could power your laptop. I haven't looked to see how much my laptop power it draws, but I suspect it may draw more than 150 watts. So, but it, on a smaller laptop like a netbook or something like that, probably wouldn't be any problem. So, anything AC 100 and 150 watts, this baby should power it. Also, this one, and another reason I got this one, is it has a cooling fan on the bottom. So when the transistors and electronics start getting a little warm because you're drawing 150 watts continuously, this will cool those parts down. Now, this definitely is going to draw a lot of current if you're using a device that uses 150 watts. So you probably wouldn't want to use this a long time on your battery without your vehicle running and charging your battery. So I have to be a little careful with that. And this item, you switch over and see how much I paid for it. This is a Best Tech, real name brand, anyway, a Best Tech 150 watt car power inverter, DC 12 volts to AC 110 volts. With, it says, with an iPhone, a mobile device charger, meaning USB. And it cost $11.50 plus about $5 shipping. So this was about $16. Again, I did a quick test using a lamp. Seems to work fine. But I don't think I'll use this combination for my scanner. I'll probably use it for other things, like charging various other devices with USB capability. And then if something comes up, like for instance my ITOM GPS, when it dies, it won't work off of its DC to DC converter until it gets partially charged. But it will work off its AC to DC converter. Go figure that. I guess because of how much power that the DC to DC converter can provide and charge that battery and be used at the same time. So That's one thing. If I happen to use my TomTom, I don't know what I called it before, but I meant my TomTom. When I happen to use my TomTom and the battery's dead, which is usually the case because I don't use it that much, then I would use the AC adapter for the TomTom, plug it into the AC port, and way to go. There we go. Okay, so that's the two things I'm using nowadays. If you have any questions about these two little devices, whether it's good or bad, please leave me a comment or send me an email. I really appreciate it. But that's the show for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back next time. Bye-bye.